Hi, I'm Elon Musk, and you've got your ticket to space. Here we are at SpaceX, and we're getting ready to do our first mission to the International Space Station. I started SpaceX with the goal of ultimately colonizing Mars, and we've made progress along that way. We first built a small rocket called the Falcon 1, and then we built a big rocket called the Falcon 9, which is 1 million pounds of thrust. On the upcoming mission, we're going to be sending our Dragon spacecraft, which is a robotic space freighter that will automatically dock with the space station and transfer cargo to the space station and bring it back to Earth. This is a precursor to the version of Dragon that will carry astronauts to the space station, which will be launching in about 3 years. We want to keep improving the state of technology, including trying to achieve what is the holy grail of rocketry, which is a fully and rapidly reusable rocket system. That's the critical breakthrough that's necessary to enable anyone to go to space if they want. I think we can make the cost of moving to Mars less than $500,000. I'm highly confident it can be done in say, let's say 15 years and absolutely 20 at the outside. Initially, trips to Mars would take about 6 months, which is about what it took to go from England to Australia in the old days, so it's not crazy long. Over time, we could improve the technology and get a trip to Mars down under a month. The reason I think we should try to colonize Mars and make life multi-planetary is because I think that humanity is much more likely to last for a long time if we're on multiple planets. Plus, the future is much more exciting if we're out there as a spacefaring civilization, exploring the stars. Long term, I would like to move to Mars. I think it would be great to be born on Earth and die on Mars, just hopefully not at the point of impact.
I'm Katie Barrett with All Things D, and Elon Musk here, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. He just got off the stage. Elon, you spoke a lot about the companies, and I wanted to speak to you a little bit about personal life. Okay. I know you have 5 children. Yeah. So how do you manage all of these children and the 2 companies that you have to deal with on a regular basis?
With great difficulty. I mean, generally I divide the week 50-50 between Tesla and SpaceX, and then the weekend is for my kids.
And so if you could envision something that you'd like them to be able to do in their lifetime that you probably won't be able to do in your lifetime, what might that be?
Oh, that's a good question.
So you are a big thinker. You really do think out a little bit further than most people.
Well, I hope that I hope they'll be able to travel to other planets. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that in my lifetime. I hope so, but it kind of depends on how long I live and how much progress we make. Yeah. So I think I hope they live to see humanity become a spacefaring civilization, and perhaps even to see a self-sustaining base on Mars.
And so as a regular person, when you're not putting on your different hats for these companies, what would you do on a Saturday morning if you had nothing work related to do and you could just get up and relax? What would that involve for Elon Musk?
You mean besides kids or
with kids, however you would enjoy a Saturday morning?
Well, usually Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings are spent with my kids, so it's doing something with them around the house or going to a movie or something like that. We made model rockets the other weekend, and actually, I mean, I like playing video games, and doing so with the kids. Like, they're all boys, so they all like playing video games too. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thanks very much for taking the time, and I really wish you well with both of these companies.
Thanks.
I'm Katie Barrett here with All Things D.
I think bottom line, creating a car company is extraordinarily difficult in the best of times, and these are not the best of times. They are pretty darn close to the worst of times. It's very, very hard, obviously, and I see that every day. I mean, we're 400-person company, and our tiniest move gets all over the blogosphere. And forget about the blogosphere, it gets written about in the New York Times. I mean, it's nuts. Everything we do is writ large for some reason. I feel like we're like a tiny figure in front of a light that's casting a giant shadow. And you see this giant shadow, but it's actually just a little thing. I think also the media and also the blogosphere tend to have cycles of hate and love. And for the longest time, we were beloved. And then, some negative things happened, and it turned from being beloved to being hated. I don't think there's some people out there that will probably hate Tesla or me for a very long time. I don't know why, but they, but hopefully most people will not. So I do like to be loved, as everyone does. I think this would be Jim would be in a very different place if instead of gathering up all the EV1s and crushing them, that instead continued that development program and created the EV2 and EV3 and continued to evolve. They would be in a really very different position today. They would be the leader in electric vehicles, and there wouldn't be a need for a Tesla. So obviously there were some big strategic errors that were made. I think it's fair to argue that this will be the first mass-produced electric car, designed from ground up to be fully electric. Beyond, say, obviously there's golf carts and there's little neighborhood vehicles and that kind of thing. And there've been electric cars before, but they've always been, at least in modern times, they've always been cars that have been adapted from gasoline cars, and they've been very limited production runs. Well, they haven't even been for sale. They only lease them and then they take them back, type of thing. People often ask me, are you having fun? And I think if the work, it's not that there's certainly fun moments.
I just got 2 minutes, so I'll just jump into it. You've been an entrepreneur all your life. The first company you created was an internet map company.
We did a bunch of things. It was internet publishing, mapping, Yellow Pages, White Pages, calendar. It basically, what my first company really did was help bring a lot of the media companies online, including Hearst, Knight Ridder, and ironically the New York Times company.
Okay, and you sold it to Compaq for $4 million as a 26-year-old?
Yes.
Oh,
well, at 300.
300?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
well, that's enough. and then you went on to create the PayPal?
Right.
And then you became the second largest shareholders in, was it eBay?
So I was the largest shareholder of PayPal, and I guess a pretty significant shareholder in eBay after the acquisition.
Yeah, but then together with the Norwegian Christian Adam, you wrote the thesis.
Right, that's
so
right.
You could have been
I think you still have a copy, right?
Yeah, I sent it to you. And,
right, exactly. I have that on email.
Yeah.
So we're not making this up, It's
no. It's real. I have the proof. I found my
real,
parents.
right? Exactly.
Yeah, but the
this
thesis
was 20 years ago.
Yeah, but the thesis that was about that was Google, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you could have made Google.
We could have made something, I think, similar to Google 20 years ago. Yeah. As a Wharton thesis, it was. Yeah.
But now Tesla.
And actually, I'll tell you some funny other things, which is there were two other things. So I did two other things sort of independently. There was sort of the Google thing, but then there was one on ultra capacitors for use in electric cars, so energy storage for electric cars, and one for solar panels or solar systems.
Okay.
So I'm no Johnny come lately to these industries.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Unfortunately, of the three of them, you actually picked the two worst Google.
Right.
But Tesla. Last question. Tesla. Why will that be a success? Why will you do it when, for example, the Norwegian company Think didn't do it? Why will you succeed?
Sure. Well, for sure, electric cars are very difficult. In fact, car companies in general are very difficult, independent of electric cars. So I think. In the case of Tesla, I think we've finally got kind of a critical mass of talent to create a car and manufacture a car, and the technology timing is right to be able to create a compelling electric car, something that's really a great product that stands on its own, whether or not it's electric. I think that's sort of the critical threshold. And in the past, companies weren't able to really put together that critical mass of talent and resources, and the technology, the sort of fundamental technology, wasn't quite ready. And so they ended up making cars that were not good value for money. They were a bit too expensive, and the performance wasn't there, the range wasn't there, And so people would look at that and say, doesn't make sense from a value for money standpoint. The range isn't long enough. It's maybe got some other concerns that people have, and so they didn't make it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. The Tesla Roadster is the first compelling electric car at a compelling price in over a century.
I'm very much impressed.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, you gotta go big.
You did it, man. Whatever he's doing, I'm interested in it. Very special human being. Can't leave him alone for a minute. He'll invent a nation. I don't even know how to drive.
You don't even know how to drive?
No, but if he's doing it, I want to see it.
I love this man. He
showed it to me in the drive.
I did actually, yeah, absolutely.
And I like it because we have a problem with biodiesel. I just left Brazil, and it works. Sugar biodiesel, okay. I don't think corn works, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No, they're dreaming. Yeah. And so I've been paying attention. I learned a lot from them.
Yeah, the electric is definitely the way to go because, problem with the biofuel stuff is it ends up displacing crops, and people forget, other countries, food's expensive. I mean, it's too expensive, they starve.
It's fast.
Better acceleration than any Aston Martin or any Ferrari currently in production. It's an electric supercar.
Great looking.
Let me tell you a few important details about the car. First of all, this car is twice the energy efficiency of a Prius. A miles per gallon equivalent, EPA rated, is over 200. The range is a 220-mile combined highway city. That's the EPA rated range, and that's with the AC on. I mean, so it's actually a real range. We've gotten as much as 270 miles just driving around the city with the AC off. So it's actually got a pretty substantial range. The charger's built in, so all you need to charge it somewhere is an extension cord. And it's got an extension cord you can just carry with it. So if you've got a friend's house, you can just plug it in like it's a hairdryer. It'll do a full charge in 3.5 hours. See, I was already talked about the incredible acceleration. I mean, on a track, this will crush a Ferrari, Aston Martin, whatever. You just, leave them in your dust. So it's the only car that is incredibly fast and great handling and all that. But its efficiency is so great that anyone who's driving another sports car should be embarrassed. I mean, this is, you're slower and you're killing the environment. How can you do that? The battery has almost 7,000 cells, so you could lose hundreds of cells and still have no problem, only lose a small percentage of your range. It's very safe. We've taken extreme measures to ensure safety. The battery is non-toxic and landfill safe. You can download songs onto the car's hard drive. You can plug in your iPod. It's got Bluetooth for your headset. It's got everything you'd expect. There's almost no scheduled maintenance because there's no oil changes, no filters, no tune-ups. It should just run for years and years without any need for intervention.
This is the future.
The only pure electric highway capable car for sale in the United States today. It's absolutely straightforward to get insurance.
And saves the environment.
SpaceX. I believe you said in the past that you'd never went to IPO SpaceX. Is that the case? And if so, what's your thinking behind that?
Yeah, there was a time when I thought IPO might make sense for SpaceX early on, but I come to the conclusion, sort of with the experience of Tesla and Solar City, that the stock market is fairly short-term oriented. I mean, I guess, it's somewhat cliche, but after having had many conversations with investors who, would tell me that at one hand that they're long-term, but on the other hand they've got to write their annual shareholders letter, and it's they don't know what, and we didn't quite make the numbers for that quarter, and then their careers riding on it, like, oh man, this is rough. So I came to the conclusion that it's probably not a great idea to take SpaceX public until we really have built the technology necessary to take people to Mars, which admittedly could be a while. Hopefully not too long, but it could take a while to do that. But it's difficult to say to the street, hey, we're building this technology to take people to Mars. It's going to really pay off in 12 years. When you've had 2 career changes. There's that's a hard one for them to swallow, I think.
How important is making sure that people are happy a big deal for you?
I think it's very important that people are happy at work. I think first of all, people are much more productive. They get a lot more done because they're leaning in towards work as opposed to hoping to escape work. So I consider it an important part of my job to make this a happy work environment and as enjoyable as possible. And I also think that life is rather short, and if you don't, and you spend so much time at work, that if you don't make the workplace a happy place, you've just made a lot of people miserable.
When people hear about happiness at work, they sometimes think it's a bit of a sort of hippie or new age concept.
Oh, really?
What do you reckon?
No, well, I guess if it is, then I wouldn't consider myself new age really at all. I just think that happiness is a good thing and ought to be encouraged, and that it actually benefits the company, because if people like being at work, they'll work harder and longer, and because it doesn't feel like work.
So that is Tesla's new charger right here in fire engine red.
Well, technically this is a Tesla's connector. The charger is built into the car, but this is the connector that will deliver either 10 or 20 kilowatts to the vehicle.
And you've designed a fairly elegant combo plug here. That's what you see there.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot smaller than the one that the Society of Automotive Engineers is working on.
Yeah. What's really cool about this plug is that it's actually capable of up to 90 kilowatts. So that's twice as much power as what would ordinarily be considered a fast charge. So we call this plug is capable of essentially providing a Tesla supercharge. And at 90 kilowatts, you're recharging about over 100 miles of range every 20 minutes. So if you're traveling between cities, you don't have to stop very long in order to recharge enough range to go to the next leg of your journey.
So this elegant design is the Tesla supercharger, which can do both DC fast charging and AC at 240 volts. It's a combo plug, and I think that's where the industry is moving, be able to do both with a single with a single plug. And we have been looking at just having a Japanese standard and an American standard, and it's been all over the map, but the combo plug is where it's going. And so this will be available with the Model S when the Model S comes out.
Yeah, it's available from start of production.
Great.
And in fact, we're installing Tesla superchargers along the interstates. Now, we should have our first 90 kilowatt supercharger installed towards the end of this year.
Great. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Elon Musk, welcome to London. Must be a great honour to come and speak at the Royal Aeronautical Society.
It is. I'm very glad to be invited and certainly feel honoured.
Let's talk about this historic mission you've just completed, the first contracted commercial resupply to the space station. You had a little bit of a wobble on the way up, didn't you? One of your engines let go. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the Falcon 9 is designed to be able to lose up to 2 engines and still complete its flight. So on the plus side, we demonstrated that we can indeed complete a mission if we lose an engine, including in a relatively violent way. On the other hand, we will certainly want to find out why that occurred and make sure, to the best of our ability, that it doesn't occur again.
Looking from this side of the Atlantic, you appear to have put a bit of a frightener on Europe. Ministers are meeting in the next few days to consider upgrading or even replacing the Ariane rocket. What's your view when you look across the Atlantic?
Ariane 5 has no chance. I mean, really, I don't say that with a sense of bravado, but there's really no way for that vehicle to compete with Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. So if I were in the position of Ariane, I would really push for an Ariane 6. I think that's the right move.
It's about price, isn't it? I mean, and you have really come in very, very low. Can you sustain those prices? Are they realistic?
Yes, absolutely. Not only can we sustain the prices, the next version of Falcon 9 is actually able to go to a lower price. So if Ariane can't compete with the current Falcon 9, it sure as hell can't compete with the next one.
And can you maintain the quality? I think this is an issue. You're going to be turning out, I mean, I don't know how many Merlin engines a year to satisfy all of the launches. You're going to have quite a turnover of engine manufacturers.
We're going to have a high volume of engines, but that's a good thing, because as you increase the volume of production, you're able to, and you have more of test firings and more flights, you're able to increase the statistical reliability of the engines, because you see all the issues.
The Falcon 9 Heavy is, I guess, the thing everybody's waiting for now. What difference is that going to make, having that vehicle available?
So the Falcon Heavy is intended to be able to launch the largest satellites in the world and then some. So it's actually going to enable satellites that are conceivably twice as large as anything that exists today to be launched into orbit.
You've talked about Mars in the past. How soon do you think you'll be able to do that?
Well, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to send our first person to Mars in the 10 to 15 year time frame. So if we take the middle of that, it's probably around 12 years.
As soon as that?
Well, yes, we can't wait too long because I don't want to be so old that I can't go.